Sophia came home that evening wearing a casual smile, as if the night she had just spent with another man was nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't return the smile. Instead, I met her with a cold stare and told her she had 10 minutes to sign the divorce papers and leave my house. What she hadn't expected was that another woman was there, Adrian's wife. Her arrival turned what should have been a private confrontation into something unforgettable. When I first met Sophia, I believed we had something special. She was sharp, ambitious, and magnetic, everything I wanted in a partner. Our lives moved quickly, both of us tied to demanding careers. She worked in finance, I managed a luxury brand. No matter how busy we got, we always found our way back to each other. Or at least, that's what I thought. The changes began small. Sophia, who once made our dinners together a priority, started working late more often. At first, I dismissed it, blaming our hectic schedules. I wanted to trust her. But then came the night we were watching TV and her phone buzzed. She quickly silenced it and placed it face down, nervously chuckling. When I asked who it was, she claimed it was just a pushy client. The tension in her body told me otherwise. From that night forward, suspicion lived with me. Her late nights lined up too perfectly, her phone lit up at odd hours, and every explanation felt rehearsed. The truth came to me by accident. One evening she left her laptop open. She had forgotten to log out of her email. What I read made my stomach twist. Intimate messages between her and a man named Adrian. They wrote about dinners, secret hotel rooms, and moments I had never been a part of. I remembered meeting Adrian once at one of Sophia's events. That night, their laughter had been just a little too loud, their closeness a little too obvious. Everything suddenly made sense, but I needed more than words. So I hired a private investigator. In a matter of weeks, he handed me everything: photos, videos, receipts. The betrayal was undeniable. What shocked me most was learning that Adrian's wife, Amal, had no idea. I couldn't let her live blind to the truth. I sent her the evidence in a package with a short note: "You deserve to know. If you want to talk, call me." It didn't take long for her to reach out. Amal was devastated, but she carried herself with remarkable strength. We met at a quiet cafe, where we laid everything bare: the lies, the betrayal, the humiliation. Her voice trembled as she spoke, but her determination was clear. "I'm going to confront him," she said, "but I want it to hurt." Something in me sparked at her words. I leaned in and told her, "Then let's do it together. Let's make sure they never forget what they've done to us." She paused, then gave me a slow, knowing smile. "I like your style," she whispered. Sophia walked into the house that night with a carefree smile, as though spending her evening with another man was completely normal. I didn't smile back. My voice was sharp when I told her she had 10 minutes to sign the divorce papers and leave my home. What she hadn't counted on was the presence of another woman, Adrian's wife. Her sudden appearance turned the night into something Sophia would never forget. When I first met Sophia, I believed she was everything I wanted. Ambitious, magnetic, and full of energy, she seemed like the perfect partner. We both thrived in fast-paced careers. She was a financial consultant, and I managed a luxury hospitality brand. Life was busy, but we always seemed to find our way back to each other. Or at least that's what I thought. The changes began quietly. She started working late more often, skipping our dinners, brushing it off as part of her demanding job. I trusted her, not wanting to seem paranoid. But one evening, as we watched TV, her phone buzzed. She quickly silenced it and placed it face down, laughing nervously. When I asked who it was, she said it was just a client being overly persistent. Her tense shoulders and her tight grip on the phone told a different story. From then on, doubt settled in and refused to leave. Her late nights aligned too perfectly. Her phone lit up at odd hours, always explained away as work. And then came the night she left her laptop open. She had forgotten to log out of her email. What I found twisted my stomach: explicit messages exchanged with a man named Adrian. They weren't just flirty words. They detailed private dinners, luxury hotels, and secret meetings. I remembered Adrian from one of her work events, where their laughter had been a little too loud, their closeness a little too obvious. Suddenly, everything made sense. Still, I needed more than just emails. I hired a private investigator, and within weeks, I had everything: photos, videos, receipts. Her betrayal was undeniable. What shook me most was discovering that Adrian's wife, Amal, had no idea. I couldn't let her live in the dark. I sent her the evidence with a short note: "You deserve to know." If you want to talk, call me. It didn't take long before she reached out. When we met at a quiet cafe, she was heartbroken but steady. Together, we laid out everything, the deceit, the humiliation, the pain. Her voice trembled as she spoke, but her determination was clear. I'm going to confront him, she said, but I want it to hurt. Something inside me lit up at her words. I leaned in and told her, then let's do it together. Let's make sure they never forget what they've done. She gave a small smile and whispered, I like your style. For weeks, we planned the confrontation down to the smallest detail. Sophia told me she'd be working late on a Saturday. I already knew where she would be, with Adrian. Amal and I made reservations at the same restaurant, arriving before them and sitting in a quiet corner. When they finally walked in hand, laughing as though nothing in the world could touch them, my anger burned, but I held it back. We waited until their meals were served before standing and walking to their table. The moment their eyes met ours, their faces dropped. Silence fell across the room. Sophia, I said evenly, you forgot to mention you'd be dining with Adrian tonight. And you, Amal added icily, turning to her husband, seemed to have had quite a full schedule. Sophia's face drained of color. Jacob, please, I can explain. You'll have time, I cut in, setting a folder on the table. These are divorce papers. You have 10 minutes to sign them. After that, you're done in my house. Her mouth fell open as if I had spoken a foreign language. Divorce? You're overreacting. No, Sophia, I replied coldly. What's ridiculous is how easily you threw away our marriage for this. Adrian tried to stand, but Amal pressed her hand firmly on his arm. You're staying right here, she said. She pulled out her own folder and slid it across the table. This will be on your company's desk Monday morning. Let's see how they feel about their CFO using company money to wine and dine his mistress. Adrian's face went pale. You wouldn't. I already have, Amal said flatly. Sophia stormed out of the restaurant with nothing but her handbag. By morning, the locks at my house were changed. Her belongings were sent to her parents. She tried calling, texting, even showing up at my workplace, but I never answered. The divorce was finalized quickly, and she walked away with far less than she ever expected. Sophia came home that night with a relaxed smile, as if nothing in her world was wrong. But I knew better. My eyes were cold when I told her she had 10 minutes to sign the divorce papers and leave my house. What she hadn't expected was that another woman was there, Adrian's wife. That single twist turned the night into something she would never forget. When I first met Sophia, I thought we had something real. She was ambitious, magnetic, and sharp. I admired her energy and her drive, and we thrived in our fast-paced careers, she in finance, me in luxury hospitality. Life was demanding, but I believed we always found our way back to each other. At least, that's what I thought. The changes began slowly. Sophia stopped prioritizing our dinners and claimed she was stuck at the office more often. I brushed it off as the weight of her career. But one night, while we watched TV together, her phone buzzed. She quickly silenced it and flipped it face down. When I asked who it was, she laughed nervously and said it was just a pushy client. The look in her eyes and the tension in her body told me the truth was far from simple. From then on, doubt refused to leave. Her late nights aligned too neatly, her phone was always buzzing, and her explanations felt rehearsed. Then one evening she forgot to log out of her email. I looked, and what I found hollowed me out. Explicit messages with a man named Adrian filled the screen. These weren't harmless flirtations. They planned private dinners, hotel stays, and secret meetings. I had met Adrian before. I remembered the way he and Sophia had laughed a little too easily, stood a little too close. Suddenly, everything made sense. But I wanted more than words. I hired a private investigator, and soon I had proof, photos, videos, receipts. Her betrayal was undeniable. The worst part wasn't even my pain. It was learning that Adrian's wife, Amal, was in the dark. I sent her everything anonymously, with one note: you deserve to know. If you want to talk, call me. She did. We met in a quiet cafe. Amal was heartbroken, but she was composed. Together we laid it all out, the deceit, the humiliation, the anger. Her voice trembled, but her will was strong. I'm going to confront him, she said, but I want it to hurt. Her fire lit something inside me. Then let's do it together, I told her. Let's make sure they never forget what they've done. She nodded, and a small smile broke through. I like your style, she said. For weeks, we planned our move. Sophia said she'd be working late on a Saturday, but I already knew where she'd really be, with Adrian. Amal and I reserved a table at the same restaurant, sitting in the shadows while we waited. When they walked in holding hands, laughing like nothing could touch them, I kept my fury in check. We waited until their meals arrived before stepping out of the dark. Their faces fell when they saw us. Silence swept over the room. Sophia, I said evenly, you forgot to mention you'd be dining with Adrian tonight. And you, Amal said to her husband, seem to have had quite a busy schedule. Sophia's face turned pale. Jacob, please, I can explain. You'll have time, I cut in, setting a folder on the table. These are divorce papers. You have 10 minutes to sign them. After that, you're finished in my house. Her jaw dropped. Divorce? You're overreacting. No, Sophia, I replied. What's ridiculous is how easily you threw away our marriage. Adrian tried to rise, but Amal pressed her hand on his arm. You're staying right here, she said coldly. Then she placed her own folder on the table. This will be on your company's desk Monday morning. Let's see how they feel about their CFO using company money to wine and dine his mistress. Adrian's face drained of color. You wouldn't. I already have, Amal replied. Sophia stormed out with nothing but her handbag. By morning, the locks were changed, and her belongings were delivered to her parents. She tried calling, texting, even showing up at my job, but I never answered. The divorce moved quickly, and she walked away with far less than she ever expected. As for Adrian, his fall came fast. Amal kept her word, and the company fired him. Word of the affair spread through the community, and soon she filed for divorce too. Last I heard, he was living alone in a shabby apartment, a far cry from the life he once paraded around. Amal and I stayed in touch. At first, it was just support, helping each other through the wreckage. But over time, it grew into something else, mutual respect, a sense of peace, and maybe more. Betrayal cuts deep, but sometimes it clears the path for strength. Truth isn't just about exposing lies, it's about making sure those responsible never forget the damage they caused. In the end, justice isn't always about revenge. Sometimes, it's about standing tall in the ruins and realizing you survived with your dignity intact. This story reveals how betrayal can tear a marriage apart but also ignite resilience. When Jacob discovered Sophia's affair, he refused to remain silent. By teaming up with Amal, Adrian's wife, they confronted their unfaithful spouses head-on and stripped them of the lies they had been hiding behind. Sophia lost her marriage, Adrian lost his career, and the two betrayed partners found healing in truth. The lesson is simple: deception may run for a while, but truth will always catch up. Disclaimer: this story is a work of narrative adaptation created for entertainment and reflection. It does not depict real people, and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. The purpose is to highlight emotional lessons and consequences that come from broken trust, not to promote infidelity or revenge. Thank you so much for staying with me through this story. Betrayal and heartbreak are never easy to talk about, but stories like this remind us that truth always comes to light, no matter how deeply it's buried. To everyone who has experienced something similar, know that you're not alone, healing is possible, and strength always rises from broken trust. A big thank you to all our loyal listeners and new subscribers who continue to support this channel. Your encouragement keeps us going, bringing you more real-life stories that touch the heart, spark reflection, and open up conversations that matter. Stay tuned, stay strong, and remember, every ending is also a new beginning. See you in the next story. Always subscribe to this channel for more jaw-dropping stories, and stay tuned, the next one might just shock you even more.